Alright, today we're going to talk about Yidris, Maelstrom Wielder. He's a blue, black, red, green, 5/4, ogre wizard. Pretty strong effect. He tramples. When he deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. It's a very, very good effect. We're going to start with a small creature, Biomechan Engineer. And enters, create a lander token. He's a 2/2. And for 8 mana, draw 2 cards, create a 2/2 colorless robot. So all value. Next we have Bloodbraid Elf, innately has Cascade. It's a 3/2 and it attacks immediately for 4 mana. Then we have a Fathom Mage, evolve, so every creature enters that is stronger, gives it a +1/+1 counter. Whenever a +1/+1 counter is put on Fathom Mage, you may draw a card. We have Drum Hunter for more card draw. At the end of your turn, if you control a creature with power 5 or greater, you may draw a card, and it adds 1. So him plus Yidris, every turn, at the end of turn, you draw a card. We have Dream Eater, a 4/3 for 6. It has Flash, Flying, and when it enters the battlefield, survey 4. When you do, you may return target non-land permanent opponent controls to its owner's hand. Very, very strong. Then we have Bane of Balaged, 7 cost, Eldrazi creature, attacks, defending player exiles 2 permanents he or she controls. Very, very strong again. I'm going to go for Mu Yanling. Legendary Planeswalker Yanling. Target creature can't be blocked this turn, so guarantees an attack with your Yidris. -3, draw 2 cards. And for 10, it's a good battle combat effect. Tap all creatures your opponents control. You take an extra turn after this one. Again, with your combat and cascading, you might get her for free and then build up pretty quickly. We're going to go into Cinder Barrens and Highland Lake. We're going to talk briefly about how it's okay to like the villain characters in media. You're not a bad person yourself for indulging in how the Necrons or the Empire might live with their tactics, because it is presented as they are in control. They have certain level of societal control that we don't have, so we fantasize about it. They are definitely the villains by their tactics, so it's not always awful to imagine yourself as a villain. But you know the difference between doing right and wrong in our own daily lives. I assume we do. So when we think of these things, we don't actually act them out, but we are chastised for liking them sometimes. If you say, oh, well, these characters that are the villains are interesting to me, Lex Luthor is my favorite character, you might get a response that you were misinterpreting it, blah, 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 it's not the reason. No, some people can like Lex Luthor. He's definitely got the nuance for reasons of being why you would not like Superman. And guess what? No, not everyone likes Superman. Not everyone likes the thing you like. Not everything is for everyone. That's the whole point of opposing ideologies. After a certain point, when Superman dies in the comic books, Lex Luthor is usually the character to go, I should change my ways and make things better, because now the safety net is gone. But until then, Superman represents holding back society for a safety net, like he says. We can't exactly grow from an extinction event if we survive every extinction without changing. Now, I believe that was the Death Stranding story as well, how humanity is already in its death throes, but We don't see it. We're just struggling against the inevitable tide. And we're not the only species that does it. There will be other species after us on the planet. And if the planet, survives long enough, the sun will explode. And then new celestial bodies will form after the sun in our solar system. And the cycle repeats. And these are concepts of billions of years, things we can't even fathom in time. I'm just rambling, really, because it's fun to talk about. It's fun to speculate. There might be a giant creature out in space that consumes planets, like Galactus. There might be, a religion that might have thought of that way before Marvel Comics, and they called it, a great devouring black serpent. And that's the emptiness of space right there. And that's how the Egyptians personified the great emptiness. It was a great giant snake eating everything. Oh. Last couple lands here, artifact, indestructible land. It's nice they made a bunch of indestructible lands. Because now we got the command tower. And we get into the Spider-Man card. Got a Blighted Cataract for late game draw power. We have Subway Train. It's an artifact creature. It's not an artifact creature, it's an artifact. It's a vehicle. Turns into a creature if you crew 2 mana cost, and if you pay green when you play it, you get a mana. So it's for the mana fetch. We have Cryptoplasm. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose a copy creature. Cryptoplasm becomes a copy. So, again, really good copy card. Where Ancients Tread for 5 mana. Creature with power 5 or greater comes in play. You have a deal 5 damage. For Storm Surge, similar effect. We have enchantments that do a lot of controlling effects. We have Teamer Ascendancy to guarantee that you have combat priority with haste. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, you draw a card. So for 4 mana, 5 mana, we have Rite of Passage. Whenever a creature you control is dealt damage, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, just to buff them up. Here we have Phyrexian Reclamation, card synergy to recast cards you want. We have Oath of Druids. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses a target player who controls more creatures than he or she does. Opponent. The first player may reveal cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card. Does creature card reveal? There's a lot of text to say that it does good effects. It's kind of synergistic, but if you don't want to put it in, you don't have to. Here we have Monastery Siege. Choose one, cons, draw a step, additional card, then discard a card. Dragons, spells, 2 more to cast, probably big dragons. We have Levitation, so that you're flying over your opponent. It's just a fun card. What a neat effect. Here we have Dictate of the Twin Gods to guarantee a win. You might also get it from a Cascade effect, or you activate it for the Cascade at instant speed. Here you have Carpet of Flowers for extra mana. During your main phase, you may add X mana of up to 1 color of your mana pool, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. Surprisingly useful, and look at that art. Very cool. Burgeoning for those games where you have so much mana, lots of card draw, and no way to put down land. This will help if your opponents are also putting down lots of creatures. We have As Foretold to save on mana. Beginning of your upkeep, put a counter on As Foretold, and you get to start playing cards for free for each counter. So once per turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the cost, and the cost is equal to Once Foretold's counters. We also have Aid from the Cowl. I'm sure they'll make this a Batman card. Revolt. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put it at the bottom of your library. So free permanent every turn. A lot of get card for free effects. Tome of Legends. With a page counter, whenever your commander enters the battlefield or attacks, put a page counter on it. So Yidris is going to be attacking often. Remove a page counter to draw a card. Then we have, of course, Swift Boots and a Soul Ring. Who could forget? Imperial Plate. Now this is fun. This gets you a lot of damage. +1 for each card in hand, so for 2 mana, you could give it +7 possibly. Here we have Heaven. Instant, deal X to each creature with flying. We have Aftermath, so cast from your graveyard. Earth deals X damage to each creature without flying. Then we have Bituminous Blast. For 5, it has Cascade. Instant, deals 4 damage to target creature. Very good kill spell because it gets you another free card. Possibly a Beast Within. Destroy target permanent. Its controller puts a 3/3 green beast creature token. Maybe you draw your first card per turn, and it is Temporal Mastery. Then you pay 2 for the Miracle to take an extra turn and exile it. If you're dealing damage quite often, you're trampling through. Stolen Identity once more. Cipher. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target artifact or creature. And you play the ability again if you deal combat damage with the Cipher. Spitting Image says create a token that's a copy of target creature and you retrace it. Kind of expensive, but it's still a neat effect. Spelltwine, even better. Target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard and an instant or sorcery card in the opponent's graveyard. Copy them and then exile them. Then exile this. Spelltwine is good because Rite of Replication is good. Kicker 5 and put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. Rite of Replication is kick, put 5 copies. We have Primal Command, choose 2. Target player gains 7 life. Put target non-creature permanent to the top of its owner's library. Target player shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library. Search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it to your hand, then shuffle your library. Maybe you want to put target non-creature. Maybe you want to search. Maybe you want to exile the graveyard. Maybe you want to gain life. All useful. Here are Pain and Suffering. Target player discards a card. And then destroy target land. Because you do need to get rid of problem cards. Maelstrom Pulse for 3 mana. Destroy target non-land permanent. And all other non-land permanents with the same name as that permanent. Yes. Here we have In Garruk's Wake. Destroy all creatures you don't control and planeswalkers you don't control. Harvest Season for 3. Search your library for up to X basic cards. Basic land cards. X is the number of tapped creatures you control. Put those cards in the battlefield tapped. Deny Reality for 5, Cascade, and return target permanent to its owner's hand. That's right. For 5 mana, you're willing to return a target card for sorcery speed. Because now you can clone Legion. For each creature target opponent controls, put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. For each creature target player controls, put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. Wins the game with haste. Now we have Beseech the Queen. For 3 or 6, you get to search a bunch of cards. Just 1 card, but depending on the mana cost. Here we have Ambition's Cost. You draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. You could replace this with Harmonize. Here we have Vizier of Many Faces. Enters the battlefield, copy any creature on the battlefield except all Vizier involvement of its token mana cost. It's white and a zombie in addition to its other types. We also have Verdant Sun Avatar, so that you gain life whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. You gain life equal to that creature's toughness. It is a 5/5, triggering of those other effects. Here we have Tromokratis for 7. He's a legendary Kraken, 8/8. He has hexproof unless he's attacking or blocking, and can't be blocked unless defending player controls, unless all creatures block it. Good for making sure the board is clear for Yidris to deal damage. Terra Stomper is a 6-cost 8/8. He can't be countered and has trample. Just a big stick. Trample on your Soul Harvest for 6/6. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. Here we have Soul Bright Flamekin. Target creature gains trample until the end of turn. If this is the 3rd time this ability has resolved this turn, you may add 8 mana to your mana pool. So, for 6 mana, you get 8 mana. Pretty neat effect. Soulblade Djinn for 5. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. It helps you go wider and kind of like prowess for your whole board. It's unique. We have Scoot Mob, so he himself is going to get +5 counters on it. 4 +1/+1 counters on it whenever you control 5 or more lands on an upkeep. We also have Artifact Creature, or Enchantment Creature, Dryad. Sanctum Weaver, tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of enchantments you control. We have Rampaging Baloth, it's a 6/6 landfall. We have Progenitor Mimic, creates more creature copies at the beginning of your upkeep, and it creates a token copy of Progenitor Mimic. We have Phyrexian Ingester, to exile a card, imprint it, and gain its stats. Here we have Merc-Fiend Liege, +1/+1 to your green creatures, +1/+1 to your blue creatures, and untaps during each other player's untap step. We have Maelstrom Wanderer, 7/5 Cascade, and creatures you control have haste. We have an Avatar creature, Living Lore. As Living Lore enters the battlefield, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Living Lore's power and toughness equal to the exiled card's converted mana cost. When he deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. That's an interesting effect. And with recursion from Phyrexian, you can do multiple times of your instants and sorceries. Here we have Crofix, God of Horizons, indestructible. You have no maximum hand size. And if unused mana would be emptied, it would instead become colorless. We have Inferno Titan, 6 for 6/6, deals 3 damage when he enters and attacks. He also has Fire Breathing, giving him +1/+0. Immolation Shaman, whenever an opponent activates the ability of an artifact, creature, or land that isn't a mana ability, deals 1 damage to that player. And for 5, it can gain +3/+3 and Menace. Pretty neat effect, as we have Herald of the Pantheon. Enchantments cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an enchantment, you gain 1 life. Interesting effects for a deck that just wants to play lots of free cards and keep attacking, keeping the pressure on. Enjoy. Have a good day, everyone.